That's a secret, but I'm gonna say it.
The purity matters, the process matters, where you get it from matters. We tested 50 different essential oil companies. Only 3 of them had pure essential oils. Some were extended, some were adulterated, and then there's some that try to use all natural, and so they put that on there, but they use
Welcome back to Deep Tissue Talk. I'm your host, Doris Martel, and today we're in a place that's very special to my heart. We're going to interview Kirk Jowers, the CEO of doTERRA. doTERRA is one of the best essential oil company in the world, and I'm really excited to have him.
Thank you so much for having me here at doTERRA. I'm so excited to have you on the table.
I'm excited to be back with you. You've been to our campus before,
Yes.
and you've been an incredible friend, and no one's taught me more about some of the incredible things we can do to stay healthy and strong and limber. So I'm looking forward to get work done.
Awesome. But can you share with the audience what are your aches and pain right now?
I've got 2 big ones. Since I tore my Achilles about 5 years ago, I've played less basketball and I'm all tennis now.
Mm-hmm.
It's all with people 30 years younger than me.
Okay.
So
you gotta impress.
I've got to impress. I can't dog it because they're all faster than me now. But so it's my right elbow and this little area right here.
Okay.
Been getting a little acupuncture. Been using a lot of deep blue and Copaiba and different essential oils to try to work on that. And then my left knee and my calf.
I like to work on the body, the mind, and the spirit. Not only we work on the mechanical aspect of your pain, so when we work on the muscles and the reason why you have pain and the movement that hurts you, etc. But I also love working on the somatic part of the pain, because sometimes when you have trauma, stress, or like emotion, the body doesn't process it 100% and it stays in your body. And so a lot of the pain that we have sometimes is linked to something that we live on the daily basis. Right. And so what's interesting about you is that you're talking about pain in your elbow, and it's usually linked to the empath pain. So this is a pain that a lot of people who take care of other people, leaders, they have those type of pain. So you have lateral and medial.
Right.
So lateral is outside and medial is the inside of the elbow.
Yes.
So you have golfer and tennis elbow.
That's what my personal trainer told me. Yeah, he's like, you don't see this a lot, but you've got them both. So.
Wow, how lucky, how lucky. But yeah, so they are called lateral and medial epicondylitis, golfer elbow and tennis elbow. Usually the lateral part of the pain is linked to an imbalance with giving and receiving. So knowing you, I know you're a giver. And so it's probably difficult for you to receive. So we'll see, like as we talk, we'll discover if there is any link to that. The medial part of the pain is usually the protector pain, because you want to help, you want to protect, you want to make sure that everybody feels good. And knowing you and knowing what you do, I'm sure that
that's
there is
a much nicer
link.
way to look at my injuries than my
right?
Wife, so.
All right, so let's get on it.
Let's get on it.
What are you really excited about right now?
I'm really excited about doTERRA. I think we are ready for the next explosive growth. We were the fastest growing direct selling company ever, to go from start to over $2 billion. And I think COVID and everything else had a little bit of an impact as we kind of leveled off for a little while. But we're seeing a lot of growth. And I think that's partly, there seems to be a real wellness awakening going on right now.
Oh, for sure.
People are questioning all sorts of things that they didn't question before. Everything from the microplastics to red dye number 3 to all these different things. And that's the space where we play best, where you want actual natural wellness products instead of the things made in a lab. And so I think that curiosity and openness of the people will allow doTERRA to have its next period of explosive growth.
That's amazing. I love that because this generation is much more closer to their body. I see it with the younger player who they question the doctor. They're trying to get into their body, meditate, being closer to nature. And this is this generation who's going to carry us in the future.
Yeah, well, and you know, I've always been kind of in awe of you because I know how much your players love and respect you. I've known a couple of the players that you've worked on. And then even, you know, when you came to visit me here at doTERRA in 2019, I think, I thought it was just going to be you, and you messaged, said, can I bring a couple of extra people? And I thought it'd be like your assistant trainer, nutritionist, and all of a sudden there were three people over 6'10", three players from the 76ers, and I was really impressed with the questions they were asking about each and every product and how to use them. And anyway, that was...
Because it's about education. I love to educate my players about what type of pain they have, why they have it, what they can do about it. And when you start tickling their brain about, I have a body and I need my body to carry me through, then they start thinking, you know, they're very smart kids.
They are, but it's because you helped them gain that understanding, and that's what we try to do at doTERRA with our direct model, our peer-to-peer model, is to talk to people directly, because as you've so clearly demonstrated, different essential oils do very different things, and they can even have a very different impact on different people.
Absolutely.
And so you need to really optimize them. And yeah, that's a spot right there. That's a spot.
If it's too much, you let me know.
I'll never say it's too much on video. No, I'm just kidding.
Because like right now we only have one session, but for a lot of people, they need a few sessions, you know, so I can go step by step, layer by layers, you know.
Right.
So I don't want to create too much inflammation with your body. But so if it's too much, like, I used to have a player, he didn't want to say that it's painful or whatever.
Right.
So I told him, you know what, if you don't want to say it, especially in front of everybody, just snap your fingers. And so I would work on him. And then one day it was like, he wanted to snap, but he didn't want to. And I could see his hand like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna snap.
Yeah, we'll get our code safe word. I'll just say LeBron or something.
Okay.
Whenever,
that works. That works.
Oh, that's a good spot right there.
And so densification in the tissue and in the fascia, mostly it's usually when you have repetitive movement or stress in the body. And so the tissue literally gets hard to prevent you from doing a movement. How smart. How smart. So the brain recognizes we're doing the same movement over and over.
Right.
So we're going to protect this guy. So we're going to get hard. So it brings calcium, hyaluronic acid, a lot of different elements to make the tissue hard. And so you can't, it's harder to do the movement, so you stop doing the movement.
It's true, yeah. I've been doing less at the gym because it hurts, and I haven't played tennis for a few weeks because of it.
So the body is
doing its job, I guess.
Very smart. But what I tell also my athletes is like, you need to continue to work. You need to continue to do your job, and playing and repeating the same movement is what you do.
Right.
So that's where I come in.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I do a little bit of active release. So I hold the tissue and then I kind of stretch it underneath the pressure to force it to release, and kind of like it adds a little stretch to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's feeling a little better
A
now.
little,
A
and
little
this is
better.
just the
There's still
beginning.
that one spot where you can hit it, and I can feel that you got it exactly right.
What are your favorite oils? We can talk about this forever, hours, but I would like to have an insight about what you use on a daily basis. What's your favorite one, the one that puts you in the mood?
Well, I use about 18 to 21 doTERRA products a day.
Wow.
My favorite oils are Copaiba. That does some amazing things, especially for what you're doing for me
I
right
use it
now.
a lot. I mix it with Deep Blue.
Yep,
And you have the
exactly.
stick that
And we got the
has,
stick
yep.
now. So I use a lot of that, a lot of just the oil itself. I love cedarwood and Serenity are kind of my two go-to for sleeping.
Yes.
We also have this new one called Shiran-yoku, which is the kind of Japanese forest bathing blend.
Okay.
I love that for keeping calm. I love all the citrus oils, but especially bergamot and lemon for kind of during the day, and then I put a lot of eucalyptus and breathe, and I got a steam shower. So spend a little extra time every day in the shower
Yes.
with those oils going.
Yes, I love that because you guys are one of the best essential company, especially with the quality.
Right.
You know, some you can ingest, which is crazy. That's the only company I would use and trust to put in my own body.
That makes me feel so good.
Yeah.
We do everything so that people like you will say that.
Yeah, on and in my body. That's a secret, but I'm gonna say it. So we used to do, when I was working with the Sixers, peppermint water. And so we would
Yes.
put a couple drops of peppermint oil and sometimes ginger and peppermint.
Yes.
And they would drink that during the game. And they would tell me, like, it just gives me this boost, this extra. I feel like I just can push myself more.
Yeah.
You know? So that's a little secret. So if you are an athlete, you can try if your doctor say you can.
I love it. I use that as well when I'm playing. We had I won't say his name, but he was a Heisman top 2 candidate over the last few years. And if you go back and look at his film, every day, every time he's going back onto the field, he had a cup and it was filled with frankincense, peppermint, and wild orange.
Wow.
And he would just kind of smell that and breathe it in, and then go out there. But that was what kind of got his mind ready to start to process all of the things that he had to know and learn. And because football is a little different than basketball. Basketball, you're in the moment the whole
Yes.
time if you're playing. Where
Yes.
football, you're going off and on. And so to come back at 100% each
And
time,
be ready right away.
be ready right away is
Yeah.
tough.
And what I love about the oil is their versatility. And I love also to use the oil in a diffuser, like we have one behind us, but to use it kind of like to set the mood and set the brain as, okay, when I come to see Doris in her room, I'm gonna get better. I use it to train the brain. When the brain smell it, it kind of conditions the body to be more responsive to what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
So breathe, for example, is my favorite, and they used to come to my room. Sometimes they would come and just smell,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And but they knew that, all right, it's kind of almost like a music. You're playing a song, and this is playing a smelling song. When they know, okay, when I come here and I get out of there, I will be better. I'll be prepared. I'll be better. I'll just be safer in my body.
I love that. That's we've worked with a number of trainers and coaches that have figured out that aspect too. One coach of a rival team of your last one, he said, "I know the oils can do all sorts of great things for the body, and the trainers have that because I need to fix their mind because they'll go and and beat the number one team, in the league, and then they'll just get destroyed by a terrible team because they can't get their head right. They didn't sleep. I know Philadelphia was doing some incredible things, and we were learning a lot from what you were using. But I love that thought that you have is it's not just what the anti-inflammatory or some of the great properties it has, but the olfactory senses, it
Yes.
can really get your mind ready to heal, to perform, to
Yeah.
rest,
Yeah.
and all of that plays a role.
Yeah. It's kind of like a permission slip because at the end of the day, your brain is giving you the okay to do whatever you want to do,
That's
right?
right.
To accept the treatment, to be receptive to the treatment. So training the brain also is very important, at least in what I do every day.
Right. One of my favorite stories, you were here in 2018 and 2019. At our 2018 convention, we had like 34,000 people here, and Hugh Jackman came and performed, and I was able to interview him. And he talked about using doTERRA because he travels so much, and it made it feel like home because it was the same smells
So true.
at
Yes.
home, the same smells in the hotel room or the house that they're staying in. He would sleep to the same, combination of essential oils. And so even though it wasn't his bed, it wasn't his room, at least his olfactory senses were comfortable where he
Yes.
was.
Yeah, wow. See, that's exactly what it is for, to put you at home in your own body. Wherever you are, you can be home.
Right.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love that. So you are a husband, a dad, a grandfather, and a leader, but you also mostly are you. So how do you find time to still get some time for yourself?
Um, yeah, it's gotten harder the last few months. There's a lot going on with doTERRA. Our products are being sold in over 100 countries. We source the oils from 46 different countries, so there's always something to do. But we are a health and wellness company, so
You gotta be the example.
I've got to walk the walk too. Tennis and hiking and things like that are great because I can do those with my wife and sons and sons-in-laws and daughters-in-law, and we can do all of those things together. We've got a nice gym at home, so I can always go in the morning and at least get some elliptical and weight work in. Yeah, and my dogs, I feel really guilty if I don't give them a few miles every
Yeah,
day.
yeah,
So
yeah. I'm the same with
even if
mine.
it's 11 p.m. and it's freezing cold, I put the headlamp on and take those guys out to make sure we both get something in that day.
How do your family live the fact that you are so busy, yet it looks like you find some time for them too, but it's a different life when you don't have your husband all the time for you. How do they deal with you being a leader?
Uh, we love to be with each other, which is the best part. COVID, when there was the lockdown, that was interesting because I think for a little while, Kristen thought there was a right amount of Kirk and there was too much Kirk,
Yes,
when I was just home the
yeah,
entire day, still working and doing everything.
I can relate.
Yeah, right. So between COVID and then I took a couple of years away from doTERRA to start my own company, and then coming back, it's been a bit of a roller coaster of how much I'm actually at home and not. You know, I'd love your help on travel is an interesting thing because of what I just told you. Um, we travel a lot. Luckily, I get to travel with my wife 90% of the time.
Oh, that's nice.
So that's a beautiful thing. And she's amazing connecting with all of our wellness advocates, our distributors around the world. But it is a little more challenging on the nutrition working out, and so, I have picked up about 8 pounds since I started in this new position. So I blame it a lot on that.
I think in my experience building the functional medicine program for the Sixers, which was kind of like a holistic performance program.
Right.
And so what I discover is that the more you know about your body, the more you know how to deal with it and how to adapt to your lifestyle and to whatever stressor could be around you.
Right.
So I loved when we were able to study our player at a cellular level. We would study genetic, hormones, even we were like studying their poop. It was amazing. And we knew exactly what food was good for them, what kind of nutritional gap they were having. And so once you have all this knowledge about yourself, you're able to make a plan because you know your lifestyle. And for example, let's say your lifestyle is you're a lot traveling and you're not going to sleep a lot. You know that the sleep that you're going to have has to be quality. So
Right.
if you know that most people have a deficiency in magnesium, so if you're able to supplement with magnesium before you go to bed, and then you use the oil to also help you kind of relax, the both of them, for example, will help you have a better quality sleep. And so you wake up feeling more refreshed, even if you didn't have your 8 hours of sleep.
That's interesting. We have a new product, relatively new product, Recharge, which is kind of an all-natural type of energy drink, a lot of magnesium. And I usually take that in the morning or at lunch with our greens product, our VMG Plus. Are you saying I'd be better served taking my Recharge, the magnesium, closer to bed?
Yes, so it depends the amount of magnesium that's in it, but usually magnesium is better at night.
Oh,
Yes.
that's great.
And for athletes, we also use it as a recovery element, it helps you get less tight, for example, have less pain in your body after a game. So usually games are at night, so they would have like their magnesium supplement after the game or mixed with, for example, their electrolyte magnesium.
Right.
Boom, they take that with their functional smoothie, then they go home, it's time to go to bed, and they wake up better. And this just learning about your body, knowing your body is going to give you the keys to know what to do with it, how to stretch it, what to eat,
Right. Yeah, I went and did a bunch of tests, a bunch of blood work over at our doTERRA clinic. And
You have a doTERRA clinic?
we do. We need to go over there together.
No way.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
You know how you feel, but it is nice to actually see the results as well.
Yes, yeah. So when you know what's going on with your body and you know what your deficiencies are, you know what your body is prone to, then you can make a plan. And having a plan is the secret. Can you recall a specific turning point in your journey, a turning point that shaped the way you approach your life, your family life, your career?
Whew.
We get to the emotional part now.
I know. I've been fortunate. I've had a crazy career. I went to law school. I was a Washington, D.C. attorney. Worked on 5 U.S. presidential campaigns and several foreign prime minister presidential campaigns. Then went to a university, was doing higher ed stuff as well as my law firm, and then here with health, wellness, essential oils. So you would think there would have to be some dramatic reasons for that, but it's really just more kind of curiosity, and I had this desire, and still do, to change the world for the better. Politics seemed like the way to do it when you're a young college student, and then law school, it's like maybe we can really do some good work. Politics is complicated, as we're seeing more than ever right now. So then higher ed seemed like a great way to do it, to work with these young, inspired people and help them achieve those dreams, and I loved that. But I really feel probably more fulfilled now than ever before, probably like you, because there's a lot of problems you have, but you have kind of, if you have a health problem, that is almost the only thing you can think of
Yes.
until you get it under control.
It becomes your centerpiece. It becomes you.
It does, and I've seen that impact people. I've seen lives change, like I know you have, just by teaching them and giving them, the products and the habits that allow them to live a joyful and active life. And I mean, I have had a lot of goals in my life, but now probably my main personal one is that I can play tennis with my grandkids in my 70s and hopefully 80s.
That's amazing.
But I know everything I do today will determine how late I can still do the stuff I love. So, yeah, I never did have that big, terrible moment that makes for great podcasts. Where they talk about they lost everything and it changed their perspective.
For you, it was like a gradual kind of like, it made sense.
Yeah, new opportunities, it made sense. There was always this, how can you make the biggest impact? And,
Yes.
and politics and citizens initiatives and things like that was kind of the first 20 years of my life, and then it's been more health and wellness this last little bit.
Because if you had to go back and somebody would tell you, like, would you want to go back and become a lawyer again, what would you say?
I mean, I wouldn't change a thing with my life. Not that I haven't made plenty of mistakes that would be nice to change a little bit, but I've loved the whole journey, and I have met some people who were heroic in what they were doing in the political and public policy space, and likewise in higher education, and students who inspired me and still inspire me, and now this is incredible. And I mean, I hate to think about where I would be if I hadn't joined doTERRA 10 years ago, because I didn't have the best health habits. I always played a lot of basketball and was very active, but...
So it's almost like doTERRA really lengthened your life.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I even think about the wrinkles on my face. I've earned them, but they'd probably be less if I was using, better lotion and essential oils and different things.
I'm a skincare
from
freak.
20s to 40s.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you have like
I love it.
flawless skin, and
I'm 43.
I got 14 years on you. But I look at my picture from when I started and now, and it actually hasn't changed much, because I'm now doing a lot of things better for my skin than I was before.
Yeah, I'm a skincare freak, and I think that hydration, using the right product, natural product, is what get me to that. Can you find a wrinkle here?
I can't.
I can't either.
You're really good on HD. I'm sure you're going to want to turn down your HD for me. But.
No, you're fine just the way you are. Just the way you are. So I'm working on the whole length of your arm, because sometimes when you go to a therapist, they work where the pain is,
Right.
but really the pain comes from other parts of your body, because everything is connected, right? So you want to work on the whole length of your arm, your shoulder, your hands, your fingers, so that everything can stop protecting you.
Right.
Right? And when you initiate a movement, it usually, if you're bending your arm, it start with the thumb or with the fingers. And the
Right.
fingers are telling the brain something's going to happen.
Oh, okay.
So sometimes when people have even neck problem, I work with the hands. The hands are not now free, and so the neck pain disappear.
Huh.
Right? It's
Yeah.
crazy. The body is amazing.
Yeah, besides you, I think the best treatment I've ever had was on this beach in Tel Aviv, and she never touched above my ankle. But she would, she could do incredible things with my feet, and I would feel release of pressure in different
Yes.
parts of my body. That was about 10 years before I started with doTERRA, but then it started to make sense about why to put vetiver on your big toe before you go to bed, because that goes straight to the spot that is going to help you relax better.
Preach.
So I was prepared to believe it because I think before that it would have been hard for this DC attorney to believe I'm not going to put something on my toe to help me sleep. So it is amazing how connected the body is, and touching one place here can directly touch something 6 feet 4 inches away. And
Yeah, yeah. And see, like, it feels it feels like working at doTERRA, meeting all of those people with different knowledge, really connected you more to this earth, to the power of your body. And so once you know that, you bring that knowledge to doTERRA to give it to even more people.
exactly. No, it is the best job in the world because I'm in Japan, and they are they really love their skincare and certain essential oils and the forest bathing, and so you talk to them and you learn something and you bring that, and went from there to Australia, and and there it's they're so focused on the great outdoors. They've amazing beaches and really fit, and how they use the oils to stay fit, and Brazil, probably the fittest people I've ever hung out with. And I try everything they tell me, so
You're a good student.
I'm a good student. I had, when I first started with doTERRA, I didn't really even know what an essential oil was. You're from France. France was kind of the real pioneer in essential oils. doTERRA stands on the shoulders of France, and the great lavender fields in southern France and Bulgaria and those areas. But so every night I had a book, and I would read, what each essential oil, the components and what it was supposedly going to do. And all of them I could apply neat, without a carrier oil. But one night I saw cassia, which is kind of like cinnamon bark, and every other one I'd been able to kind of just dump all over my body and just try stuff. And that one, I felt like I was on fire. Luckily, our Dr. Hill, our doctor here, Dr. Hill, had told me if it ever is too intense, just put some fractionated coconut oil or avocado oil or something. And so, I was trying to get that thing open, and I poured it all over, and my wife Kristen walks in and just have like my, trunks on, and there's just oil and and stuff all over the floor, and it smells like the most intense cinnamon. And she's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm trying these things." But that's kind of fun, the journey of figuring it out. You can dump a whole thing of lavender on your shoulders, but you got to be careful with a couple of the hotter oils.
Exactly, that's so true. And that's where you need the knowledge. You need people who know what they're doing.
I know, by the grace of God, Dr. Hill had told me that, or I don't know what I'd have done, because water doesn't help it.
Yes, yeah, and you can burn your skin, and
Yeah.
yeah. Or too much in your body, too much concentration is also not the best way
Right.
to heal.
Yeah, yeah. So you gotta regulate it all. But if you got a trusted advisor, it's an incredible journey.
Yes, I bet. I mean, it's been an incredible journey for me, discovering the oil, experiencing with it, being in touch with you and your team, because I've learned so much. It was kind of one of my introduction to using nature as your ally.
When did you first find essential oils and decide you're going to be more of a natural healer than whatever comes out of the lab?
So my mom has always been using plants
Okay.
and aromatherapy and some type of essential oil. She would kind of like make her own essential oil.
Yeah.
And so from a little girl, I've been already being around plants and scent and so I knew the power of the plants, but that's when I started to do some research that I find essential oil and then also asking around people like um, what are the company here in the US that are the best company that have the best quality, you know, that and so your name came up a lot. So that's when I decided to reach out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that was a great day when you get the trainer of, you know, the Philadelphia 76ers calling and saying, I love your stuff. I need to know more. And I'm like that. We've had a few great days like that, but that was one of the best. And to keep this relationship for 7, 8 years has just been a highlight.
And there is people who I was with at the 76ers who went on to other teams and they're asking me, hey, who can I connect with at doTERRA because I loved when you were using the oil, so I want to know more. I want to help my new team now.
I know you've built a great doTERRA team. I know we see it. So thank you for sharing.
It's my pleasure, you know, like sharing is caring. Like I
Yeah.
wouldn't want to keep that knowledge for just for myself. Like,
That's a good one.
breathe.
Breathe, our favorite oil.
You know, also what's cool about your company is that you have a lot of oil. And I remember sometime I would just be on my phone and just look at your website and it would put me to sleep looking at the oil, reading about them, you know, like it's just
Right.
so well done. It makes you, even the website makes you want to learn.
You know, we've got over 100 essential oils now that
I had the pleasure to visit that amazing doTERRA headquarters, and they show you how they make the oil, where the oil come from, where they're stored, and how, you know, it's so amazing to see the knowledge and the passion that everybody here put onto making those oils.
yeah, it's, you know, one thing, I can't remember the player, and I probably shouldn't say his name anyway, who came, but the ex-player, it was an ex-player. But I loved how interested he was about why we would never use lavender from Utah. We're a dry desert, arid state. We have lavender fields. They're pretty. They're not as pretty as the ones in Provence.
Yes.
But you really need to go to Bulgaria, southern France, where the soil can make it the most therapeutic as possible.
And nutritious also.
Exactly. And so that's why we source them from 46 different countries instead of, you know, trying to do them all in 4 or 5 locations, because you go to Brazil for Copaiba, you go to the Middle East and Somaliland and different places for frankincense, and that's just the only way to do it. Oh, that's a good spot too.
Take a few seconds because this is really dense here, so I want to make sure that I address that for your knee.
I try to roll out on those rollers every night. With my wife, we'll try to watch, you know, some series and stretch and roll out every night. But I must not be doing it exactly right, because that part is very tight.
You know what it is with rollers is that because you're in charge, sometimes you can get lazy to the pain. And so, oh, it hurts, I'm not going to put too much pressure on it, you know. And especially when you work on your quadriceps or when you work on your calves muscle, you want to add movement to it. Right, so for example, if you're working on this area, so let's say my arm is the foam roller, then you're gonna go straight and bend and stretch and bend. As you roll, you add some movement because then you're stretching the tissue underneath and you allow the different layers of muscle and fascia to, like with the pressure, you force them to move in different direction, and then if there is adhesion in between them, you can break them out.
When doTERRA started, no one but people from France really knew what essential oils were and some of your real natural people. Now everyone knows what an essential oil is, but now they need to understand that quality matters. Purity matters, the process matters, where you get it from matters. We tested 50 different essential oil companies. Only 3 of them had pure essential oils. Some were extended, some were adulterated, and then there's some that try to use all natural, and so they put that on there, but they use wintergreen, for example, is less expensive than birch, and so they put wintergreen and they call it birch, and they put a little isotope in there. So
you need to know where to go so that you can trust, who you can trust. If somebody were to write a book about you in 10 years from now, what would you like to be remembered for? What would you hope that this writer would write about you and about your legacy?
At work, I hope they would. That's a good question.
Yes, I have a very good question.
I mean, you started off the right thing. I certainly hope that the employees are happy and fulfilled here, that they see a real purpose for their job no matter where they are. Sometimes that's easier than others, the ones that get to be with our amazing wellness advocates all over the world. It's a little easier probably to feel that fulfillment. I would hope they would think I acted with complete integrity and honesty at all points, even if it wasn't an answer they wanted, that they would respect that we followed a process and did the right thing. And I hope they had a lot of fun here. My leadership style is really based off of teams. I was a team sport guy growing up, and wherever I've been, it's all about building, that right team. I love the book Boys in the Boat, and the talk about when you can get that swing and all of a sudden you're going much faster than you should be able to just because you're in exact synchronicity. So I hope people like being part of, this team, from small to large. And maybe most importantly, that our wellness advocates are always proud of this company, that the products live up to that promise, and the solutions that they use and give to so many other people actually work. So I guess that's probably where I'm hopeful.
That's beautiful. And what would you like your kids and your grandkids to remember you for?
Just joy and fun. We have a blast. We do a lot of goofy things. We like to travel together. I love to get on the floor and play with my grandkids. It's probably my very favorite thing in life, and to hear them laugh. And so I hope, when they're thinking back about me, they'll just think we laughed a lot.
But I can tell you, for knowing you for so many years, the energy, the aura that you have is amazing and very caring and empathetic. And from the start, I felt this really good, positive energy about you.
Oh, well, thank you. Likewise. We hit it off from the start. That was a good one. We quickly found out that she is much more flexible than I am. When she showed me how she wanted to sit, she just and mine didn't work quite as well, but you're getting me there.